Hi, this is James October Live here with a topless video. Today I am doing the top 15 bad novel covers. These are books that are really good. They're good books, but they have really just atrocious and really bad covers. So I spent a good week looking up some books to find some really bad covers, and these are the following 15 that I found. I will be naming the publishers and the years that these books were these editions were published in, as I'm focusing on the like the bad book covers and the years they came out, not when the book was published itself. Um, if this does well, I will definitely do some more more top bad novel covers, and I was also even thinking of doing the top best novel covers on books, and it was even thinking of doing one of like bad books but with really good covers. That was another one I was thinking of doing too. So, all right, without further ado, let's begin with it. So for number one, for the first book, we will be looking at Flow My Tears, the Policeman Said by Phil Dick. The publisher is Vintage, and this is from 1993. So as you can see, this cover right here is just bad. On the left side, you got a picture of some guy that's, I don't know, could be naked in a forest, and it's got like a pink background. You got a giant P. I don't know, it's supposed to be the first initial of the author, or maybe it's a hint to the title of the book. But this is just a really kind of an artsy cover. There's nothing really that represents the what the book's about. It has nothing futuristic or science fiction about it. It's just some artsy cover with some fancy colors and shapes and stuff. And yeah, this is just not a good cover. It's atrocious. I had this book before, and I replaced it with a much better edition from 2001 with amazing cover art by Chris Moore. Really good cover artwork. The next book we'll be looking at is Christine by Stephen King. The publisher is Stigma, and this is from 2004. And this cover is just basically, it's plain. It's plain, it's boring, it doesn't really have much to excite the reader. All on the cover, as you can see, is just car headlights are turned on, it's dark, and in the title, Christine, and that's it. There's just nothing, there's nothing that screams that just makes this like a cover you'll remember. It's just plain, simple, boring. You got Stephen King's name like enlarged with bestseller on top, and then on the bottom you got this kind of somewhat fancy text, Christine, but it's not a really good cover. It's boring. Okay, for number three, The Park is Mine by Stephen Peters. This is from Warner Books in 1982. Well, this is one of my favorite books, but this cover is just atrocious. It's so bad. You got this 3D font on the top of it, and then you got a maple leaf, and there's a fire, and it shows this elderly couple making out in the flame. It's like they're making out it during being burned alive almost, and it's just terrible. This doesn't represent what the story's about. The Park is Mine's about a Vietnam vet that wants to relive his glory days of Vietnam and turn Central Park into his personal war zone. That's what this book's about. And instead, what we got is this just really just shitty cover. Like, it's terrible. I'm thinking to myself, what, they couldn't draw something really cool with a guy going around on a dirt bike with an AK, like scaring the shit out of people while encouraging the city of New York to fight him. It was just, I could just imagine a way better cover. Even the first edition of this book in hardcover, like the cover is it's I would pick it over this one, but it's like, come on. Even the Japanese cover, they put more effort into it than this one from Order Books. The next book is The Hobbit by Jrr Toklin. This is from Battleland Books, and this is from 1982. And this is just a really bad cover. I couldn't believe when I saw this. And what I find is kind of been insulting that this is supposed to be the 50th anniversary edition, and this cover looks terrible. You got somewhat overweight Bibble Baggins holding like a short sword, and in the background is Gollum, who looks absolutely terrifying. Looks like he's about to murder him. Not the one I remember from Lord of the Rings. My precious. This cover is terrible. This looks like the dollar store version of The Hobbit. If The Hobbit was made on a really low budget, this what it looked like. It looks terrible. And it looks like the Bilbo Baggins, it looks like he's wearing a wig. That's not his hair. It looks like they put a wig on him. This looks terrible. And for a 50th anniversary edition, this is terrible. I got a nice 75th anniversary edition of The Hobbit with a much better cover with Smog on like flying to the mountain, breathing fire, and it's a great cover. Next book, Planet of the Apes by Peter Boyle, and this is from Stedman, 1971. This cover is absolutely atrocious. You got a what looks like a mummified monkey corpse in the background, and you got the three astronauts that are rowing on nothing. It's got like they got like a bit of a blue background, and they're rowing on nothing. This is a terrible cover. This is awful. You would think that the publisher would put more effort to like making like a eye-catching cover that'll draw readers into one read. Not this. Not this monstrosity that this publisher has created. This is awful. I got a reprint which just has like like an ape wearing like some type of outfit, and that's all there is. And I would pick it over this book, over this cover. This is just awful. Next book, Assassin by Hudson, and I have two editions. First, we'll be looking at the Star edition from 1990. Okay, as you can see, it's a black background and with an image of a kind of like a corpse holding a gun, like cocking the revolver and about to fire it. This is actually taken from the hardcover edition, which has a much better cover. It's basically a plain green background, and it's got like the author's name, Hudson, and it's got assassin like graffiti with a airbspray can kind of type text. This is just like the publisher didn't feel like creating a new cover, so let's just take this hardcover edition. Let's just cut out the hand holding the gun, and we're gonna put a background. We'll put some like gold text. Done. It's just laziness. It's laziness. The hardcover edition at least puts more effort to it. Okay, and this other edition is from Caffeine Publishing, and this is from 2014. This is a newer edition. This just, when I look at this cover, I immediately think of like stock images with Photoshop. It's what I think of. You got the author's name in large on the top, and you got this kind of like fancy text assassin that's all in lowercase. You got a. This doesn't really look like in the book. It was like these kind of like reanimated criminals that come back from the dead. This just looks like some guy just cut off some person's face off and is like put it like stitched together like Leatherface almost. Um, and he's wearing like this suit. And he's got dual Desert Eagles, and he's like in an underground background. And with all this smoke, it just looks terrible. This is just it just looks laziness. It just like I said, like it's basically Photoshop stock pictures from a library and just kind of put that together to make something. And I don't like it. It looks terrible. I'd rather go with the hardcover edition. All right. Okay, next, the Bourne Supremacy by Robert Ludum, and this is from Grafton Books, 1987. And this is just kind of like basically this is kind of like somewhat plain and somewhat weird at the same time. So you got the author's name in large, you got the title of the book in large, and at the bottom of the cover you got a revolver that's changing into a dragon and one bullet. What does this have to do with the Bourne identity? What does this have to do with it? This is weird. This is like something I should see in a video game or like some fantasy story with like guns that have like the muzzles look like animal mouths or something. This doesn't make me think of like like secret agents, like government agencies and spies and assassins and around the world and stuff. This doesn't have this. It looks cheap. It just looks cheap and lazy. Okay, next is Redstone Rising by Tom Clancy and Larry Bond, publisher Random House, 1988. And this one is just kind of like the Robert Ludum cover we looked at. This is basically just laziness and plain boring cover design. So you got the title in large. You got the author's name in the bottom, and I really wish they would add Larry Bond name to the book, because Tom Clancy and only wrote one part of it, and Larry Bond wrote the rest of it. But Tom Clancy got credit for it. And this cover just looks so boring. It's just a red background with a submarine. That's it. And this is supposed to be about like a World War III book, and you would think the publisher would have like some illustration for like from the book, or just like have like I don't know, some battle of like two sides fighting each other, and just put this cool text, Redstone Rising, make it feel like a World War III book. This to me looks like a rejected, like the Hunt for October cover. Like it was like an early cover idea they had, and they didn't use it. So when the publisher went to publish this book, let's just use a cover we didn't use for a previous book and just use that rather than spend money to make something actually decent looking. It's just terrible. And there is a better cover I'd like to get of this book. Next, next book is Dune by Frank Herbert, and again I have two editions we'll be looking at. First one is Holder and Shotton. I'm not pronouncing it right. This one is from 2006. This is just a what am I looking at here? I got I don't know what's supposed to be on the bottom. Gas, it looks like gas, and the title is made of a bunch of stars, like actual stars. And what does this have to do with Dune? This is about a desert planet, not stars or gases. Or this is just plain boring. It's just nothing interesting with this cover. It's laziness. Alright, and then the next edition is also from the same publisher, and this is from 1982, and this one's even bad. And it's also misleading, because on the cover, it just shows a planet blowing up. What does this have to do, again, what does this have to do with Dune? There's no planets exploding in the story. There's the only thing that comes to mind are explosions during the when the Harrigan attack the Hertredes family, and they attack the base, and then towards the end of the novel where it has that big war, that's why I can see some explosions. But there's no planets blowing up in Dune. What does this have to do with the book? I feel like someone just got, this is misleading. It's just misleading cover here. While the text I do like, but this cover is just, this doesn't represent Dune. This is just misleading. There's no big planet explosions. It's just misleading. Okay. Next is Drive by James Sales, and this is from Poison Pen Press from 2005. So in the background, this looks like a road. You got the yellow dotted lines, and you got this white line in the middle. You got a fancy title text, which I don't mind. But in the middle image, this looks like an image from if anyone remembers those 90s and early 2000s games, Sin City. That's what this makes me think of. It's like a scene from Sin City, and they just slapped it on there as the cover. This doesn't represent what the book's about. It's a crime thriller, and and like most of these books, there's a lot better covers than the ones I'm showing. This does not represent the book at all. This just looks like something from Sin City. It's just terrible. Okay, next is Day of the Jackal by Frederick Forsyth, and the publisher is G.P. Panam Sons, 2018. This is a newer edition. One thing I don't like it with some newer editions of books when they reprint the books, which is nice when they reprint the books so new people can discover them. I really wish they would either use like put more effort into the cover designs, make them look, match the story. This does not match the story, what Day of the Jackal is about. So in the cover you got some guy walking, and there's an AK-47 that's like floating behind him. This takes place in 1963. There are no AKs in the story. It's about an assassin that tries to kill Charles de Gaulle with a sniper rifle, not shoot him up with an AK. That's not in the book. Most of the time the book takes place in France. The one part of it does take place in England, but most of it takes place in France, Italy, and some other countries. But mostly in France, and they've chose the background for like London, and it's just, that's not what the book's set in. This just looks like again, it's misleading. It's like Day of the Jackal takes place in London, and it's about something else entirely, which is not. It's about an assassin hired to kill Charles de Gaulle. This does not represent it at all. Just not a good cover at all. Okay, next, War of the Worlds by H.G. Wells, and I have two editions. The first one is from Simon and Brown. This is 2018. And this, again, is just laziness. The publisher obviously didn't feel like creating some truly eye-catching cover artwork. There's a lot of good covers of War of the Worlds. This is not one of them. Let's just let's just make it artsy with some fancy shapes. You got these squares, and what the hell does this have to do with War of the Worlds? I'll tell you what it has to do with it. Nothing. Absolutely goddamn nothing. Just some squares. This looks like some fancy Rubik's Cube I'm looking at here. It's terrible. And then the next edition by War of the Worlds was independently published. Unfortunately, I could not find what year this book came out in, but this is just laziness. There's no effort to create a catching or interesting image to draw readers, and this is just plain boring laziness. All this cover has is just the title of the story, the author's name on the bottom, and you got these. What does it look like? Pipes in the background, like some sewage or pipe connection illustration in the background. What does this have to do with the worlds? Nothing. Absolutely nothing. It's terrible. Alright. Next is The Long Walk by Stephen King under the pseudonym Richard Bachman. This is from Stegman again, and this is from 1999. And there's just no effort put into this cover. It's just it's just a ground shot of an open road with a shoe, and that's it. This is terrible. This is just, there's nothing anything I like about this cover. It just doesn't represent what the story's about, which The Lone Walk is about this, just in this dystopian future. Basically, people can enter this competition where they have to walk a very long way, and if the last person standing gets to win this big prize at the end. As they got soldiers that will follow them, and if any of them don't move, they will be shot. And this card, there's two editions which capture this what the story's about. This does not capture the story at all. This just looks plain and boring. And the shoe, even looking at the shoe now, it doesn't even look like it's part of the image here. It just looks like someone photoshopped a shoe line on this road. It's just terrible. Not a good cover at all. Okay. Next, A Clockwork Orange by Anthony Burgess. This is from Penguin Books, and this is from 2013. And this is I talked about this book in one of my videos, where it's just basically the title says A Clockwork, and then you see this orange ball, and if you don't know what it is, you're like, A Clockwork, and you think that's actually the title, A Clockwork, but it's not. It's A Clockwork Orange, and it's like they couldn't put orange on the title. They just put this this big orange ball, and just that's the other part of the title. It's just it doesn't. It's terrible. It doesn't. This doesn't work. Like most people, like I said, if anyone hasn't heard this book, they're gonna pick it up and on the side it will say A Clockwork Orange, but on the front of it just says A Clockwork, and they'll think that's the title. But what does this orange ball have to do with it? It's just, that's not how you represent a book. That'll be like you spelling out half the title of a book, then put an image to complete the rest of the title. It's just being lazy. Come on, Penguin, you could have put the orange on the title and come up with something better than this. It's just laziness. Alright, and the last book, the last bad book cover we'll be looking at today is Day of the Triffids by John Wyndham. This is from Martin Library, and this is from 2003. And this is just a cover that does not represent the book, and this is terrible. This just looks like someone got bored working on this cover and just added all these fancy lines done. Day of the Triffids, there's again a lot of good covers of this book where it's about these these like three-legged plant things that try to take over the Earth, and basically the which does happen in the story, but this is just a terrible way of doing it. It's just these green like comets, basically that fly by Earth. Basically, these have like the eggs, and basically when they hatch, it releases the triffids and makes people blind. But this, look at these things. They're just these comets are going over the place. You even got one some going up. Even it's like that's not what happens in the book. And then you got this farm, and it looks like someone just snapped the picture from inside their car and just had the high beams on that, and they just altered it to make it green. This is terrible. This is just a back cover. It does not represent Day of the Triffids at all. There's a lot of good ones where it shows the Triffids, as I said, and if the publisher wanted to do something a little different, illustrate a different scene from the book. Is it that hard to pick a scene that hasn't been illustrated in the book and use that as the cover? It's not really that hard. Come on. Alright, that is it for the video today. I hope you all enjoyed it, and I have begun reading Crackdown. I'll be reading much as I can this month so I can get a review out soon, and then after I'm done, I will read uh, Richard Richard uh, um, Richard Lehman's the Stake. I can't believe I dropped a link on that name. Richard Lehman's the Stake. I'll be reading that next, and then after I am done reading Richard Lehman's the Stake, I will then go to Johnny Siff's Manhattan Transfer, and then after that, I will just read more science fiction and horror novels during this month so I can clear my shelf, make room for new books. If you like this video, please like it, share it, and don't forget to subscribe to Octara Library and the YouTube channel of the same name, a place you post and review fiction. Until then, I'll catch you later.